Hiya Wendy, thank you for joining me today on the Speaker Spotlight. So can you tell me what's your story and a little bit more about why you do what it is you do?
Thank you for asking me, Wendy. So my story, I guess it starts in childhood because my parents, I was an only child. My parents, their marriage seemed to go wrong when I was about 7 years old. And I remembered feeling so very sad and lonely. They didn't communicate with each other. If they did, they either argued or my mother just stopped talking at all. And I can remember the longest she ever stopped talking to my father or I. She just sulked, basically, was 6 weeks, which is really upsetting as a child. You don't know why, you don't know the reasons why, being told, well, if you don't know, I'm not telling you, those kinds of things. And it left me not able to communicate very well. I didn't know how to interact because I wasn't taught as a child. So that left me growing up finding it difficult to communicate with others, to make friends. I just didn't know how to do it, really. I felt awkward, not good enough, not fitting in, all of those things. Made relationships strange as well. I didn't know how to do them, didn't know the boundaries, didn't know how to behave, didn't know how to interact with boys, certainly because I'd been to an all-girls grammar school. So they were like aliens to me. So it was a really tough time growing up for me. And then I met the man of my dreams, I believed, at 22, got married, and it was a bit of a whirlwind romance, really. But I guess in retrospect, when I look back, part of it was I craved to get out of my family home because I was so unhappy. I'm not saying he was a bad man, and we were happy together, but thinking back, you know, you can be very clever in retrospect. Things do come to us. But anyway, we're very happy. We had struggled at first, but it didn't matter. We weren't well off, but you know, that was part of the fun. And we then had two delightful little girls, and we managed to save up enough money to move to a lovely house in a little village in Surrey. I thought everything was fine. In 10 years it was absolutely fine. And then it all started going wrong because one day he just came to me, my husband, and said, I want out. I've met somebody else. I don't love you anymore. And at that point my world fell apart. We limped along after that for about 4 years until it finally came to a head, and we just split up. And it was so sad because it was a broken family. My children, I brought them up mainly on my own, but that was tough. He wasn't very supportive. He moved on. He didn't make the best of choices either in his further relationships. My girls didn't have a dad around, and we missed out on so much. We didn't celebrate their milestones together. We didn't celebrate those happy days, those family holidays, those days out. My girls missed out a lot, as did I. And you know, when we had grandchildren, we couldn't celebrate their weddings together. We couldn't celebrate the grandchildren. Those are things that couples should be able to celebrate, all those lovely times together. And we didn't have that. And I just decided then that I went on a journey of self-discovery. That was my first thing. I wanted to learn more about me and the way I behaved in the world. And so I started training as a counsellor, and I learnt so much about myself, and that journey of self-discovery was just amazing. And then I realised that I learnt a lot about me, as I said, but it was also, well, if that's happened to me, I don't want that to happen to someone else. And more of my clients were talking about their relationships and what was going wrong, how they didn't connect either with their siblings, their parents, their colleagues, their loved ones. And so I decided then that what I wanted to do was to focus on helping couples who were struggling in their relationships. And I started seeing couples who really, that one of them or both of them had actually emotionally left the relationship. And that wasn't the couples I want to work with, because once it's become ingrained, once one of them or both of them have decided that they've emotionally left that relationship, it's very, very hard to even put it back. So I really want to focus on those couples that they just believe there's something not quite going right. There's something doesn't feel right. And what is it? So that we can begin to communicate more effectively, be able to talk to each other more openly, and ensure that that relationship stays on track. And that gives me a great deal of joy, because it's not just that couple, it's their children, it's their family, it's their friends. It's so widespread. It's even their colleagues at work. Everybody benefits from being able to communicate more effectively and keep that relationship going and ensure that it doesn't go wrong.
It was really interesting, Wendy, listening to your personal story and how you picked out and identified how it's quite traumatic, isn't it, when a member of the family leaves, especially when they're not speaking to the other person. The energy that's in the room, and it's that whole thing of standing on eggshells, isn't it?
Mm.
So it's fascinating that you've been able to see that and see it within your own relationship, and then, unpick it, explore it. And now you're working with people that are experiencing very similar issues that you experienced in your childhood and when you were growing up.
Yeah.
So how do you predominantly like to work with your clients?
Well, so many people in a similar field, and I'll say a similar field because I don't want to be put in a box and say, well, that's what I am. When people say, oh, you're like Relate, you're like marriage guidance. Well, broadly speaking, if you had to put it in a great big box, yes. But I want to see myself much more as coaching people and almost like preventative rather than repairing really damage. So I don't work session by session, which is what a lot of people in my field might do. I feel that really a 3-month period is a good starting point. And I feel that if a couple are really connected and really committed to making their relationship work well, it's that investment of time and effort. So it is face-to-face, that's ideal. And 3 months is what my ideal too, because I feel then that they are committed to actually doing that. Saying that, I know that not everybody is able to do that. Some people feel very threatened. They feel that making that commitment or airing their dirty laundry in public, relying on somebody else to help them when they feel they should be able to make it work, it can feel quite threatening to talk to a complete stranger. So I've written a book, which is a self-help book. So that's called From Surviving to Thriving in a Romantic Relationship, which is available on Amazon. And that's got exercises in it which couples can work through together or even on their own. I've also written an online course, but they also have access to me as well, so that you can have Q&As as well. So there's a course that I've written. And I'm running podcasts where I'm interviewing people who, it's not just a straight giving thoughts and ideas and suggestions and help, which is part of it, because I do some of that, but there's also interviewing people that are related to things that involve relationships, like a fertility expert, a hormone and menopause expert, parenting coaches, and even a family law mediator, because they're all things that affect relationships, and sometimes relationships don't work. And so it's covering a broader aspect of all things related to relationships.
Yeah, our lives are holistic, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like everything's just so interwoven. Is it, Wendy, is it couples, and is it predominantly couples that you work with, or individuals?
Yeah. Mainly couples, but if couples don't want to work together, or if there's an individual who's struggling with relationship problems, then yes, I work with them too. So yes, or even if they're, yeah, because we're all, like I say, we're in relationships with all sorts of people. So it could be even work related or family related. It's once you start making what help one person to change, make the change, you can help a whole raft of people. If I could just tell you one short story. I've been working with one parent. She's a parent, single parent, with quite a lot of mental health and physical health issues. I've been working with her for 2 years, and she's been struggling. She also has agoraphobia, and she's got a lot of issues. And I started working with her with that, but then it became more and more obvious that she was struggling with parenting as well. So working with her, she finally has got some help outside, so she's got other agencies involved who are helping her with the children, or helping the children even. And in just the last few weeks, I have seen a complete change in her, because I've been encouraging her to build the bonds with her children, to keep the door open. One of the children isn't living at home at the moment, and she's feeling really rejected, and I'm encouraging her to talk to her daughter, keep the door open, and that's happening. And with the younger one, who had real behaviour problems, encouraging her to be more interested in what he's saying, asking the right questions, and I can see she's seeing a change in their behaviour, and she's also feeling better in herself. Her depression is lifting. So it's wide-ranging really. So just making one change can elicit a change in lots of people around.
I really love that, and it's the butterfly effect, isn't it? You make one small change in one person, and then that has an effect on the next person, has an effect on the next person, especially when you're dealing with communication and families. It's just so important.
Yeah. I completely agree, and I've seen it in the 12, 13 years that I've been working in this field. I've just see those changes happening constantly, and they're small. I mean, you can't make a change. If you imagine a clock, you don't go from 12 to 1 o'clock. You go from 12 to 1 minute past, 2 minutes past, 3 minutes past, and those make the changes.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I was just thinking about, as you were saying that, I was thinking about a course that I did years ago, which was coaching, and it was talking about limiting beliefs. And I got it, but I didn't really get it. And it's only now that I really get it. And that's like, oh God, that's like 8 years down the road. So it's fascinating, isn't it? How we sort of hear it, but don't really hear it.
Yes. And I think sometimes it's our own personal journey. When I think back to several years ago when I couldn't take certain things on board because I wasn't in the right place to hear it.
Exactly. Yeah. Really important. So I think that 3 months program is brilliant, because it's enough time to, this is going to sound terrible, for people to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but actually to have enough time to work through being uncomfortable and what you can do to resolve it. So 3 months is a lovely window.
Yes, I found that I have done a 6-month program in the past, and it's just not enough time. There's so much that involves the relationship. It's our family systems. It's the way, because we all function in the world very differently, and it's understanding that, how the other person functions differently, and so their communication way is going to be different. Their rituals and behaviours are going to be very different, and that's part of it. And it's then being able to communicate effectively, because one word can mean so many different things to different people. It's how we learnt it as a child. And if you just assume that that one word means the same as you believe that the other person's spoken, you could be really missing each other totally. And so it's really understanding all of that, and getting couples to be more curious instead of, and being interested in it, in what they're saying, and listening. You know, I say we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them proportionally. There's for a reason.
I'm laughing because I know what me and Steve are like. We've been together, it'll be 18 years this year. And
great.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
When you say about words, we just have such different meanings and interpretations around one simple word that can cause the whole drama of things to escalate.
Exactly. Yeah. That's great to hear that from you, because it's my experience, but to hear it from someone who's been married for 18 years, that's really great, that you still struggle with that. And it just is checking it out.
Yeah. Wendy, what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Okay, so I've got a website, which is www.yourrelationshipspecialist.co.uk, or you can email me at wendy@yourrelationshipspecialist.co.uk. So yeah, best way to contact me.
Brilliant. And what's the name of your podcast? Because I love the name of your podcast.
Yeah, it's Love, Listen, Talk, Repeat. Yeah.
And you can
a
bit more of that.
So you can subscribe to that. I mean, there's lots of platforms. Obviously, there is a website, and you can get to my podcast via my main website, and you can access all the episodes there, or on iTunes. It's listed on iTunes too. So yeah.
That's brilliant. And if you're on Facebook, Wendy also does really great live sessions. I'm not sure how often you do it every week, but I know you do your live sessions, and people can come in and listen to you and ask questions.
Yeah. I aim to do it around 6:30 every Monday. If I miss one, it's because I'm not here, or the last time I missed one, it was because I had a wretched migraine and I was really not in the right place to do it. But generally, I'm trying to do it at 6:30 every Monday, so that you know that it's there, and trying to address different issues that I think people are interested in. And I'm always up for anybody saying, can you talk about that? Because that would be good as well. I want to help people with what they want help with, not what I think they want help with.
That's great. I really like that, Wendy. Thanks for sharing that. So Facebook, podcast, website, also your book.
Yeah, that's the one, from surviving to thriving in a romantic relationship.
Yeah, we don't want it the other way around.
No. And it really takes people through the whole journey of a relationship. So starting at the romantic stage, then moving on to maybe moving in together, buying a house or renting together, having a baby, career changes, affairs. It takes it through the whole journey of a relationship. So yeah, and even when you can't get on, what do you do? What life is like on your own afterwards at times. So yeah, I've tried to kind of just done that journey and offer tips and suggestions, and there are exercises in there as well that you can do, so that you can just do some work on your own.
Yeah, brilliant. There's not many of us that can't do without it, to be fair.
No, I try and encourage people, because I think there's always times when there's something that's not going to work, or you're going to be at loggerheads over something, and if you've got ways of communicating with each other to try and get over those, I think that's surely got to be good. I hope so anyway. That's what I've offered.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much for that, Wendy. I wanted to ask you, because you're a member of the Virtual Speaking Academy, I just wanted to ask you some questions around your experience of being a member, if that's okay.
Yeah. It's
Brilliant.
fine.
So how long have you been a member, Wendy?
4 months. Yes.
Wow, 4 months. Do you know, I can't believe, hasn't time gone really quickly? I can't actually believe it's 4 months. When I looked and
No.
checked, I thought 4 months.
Yeah. Yes, it has gone really quickly. It's amazing, isn't it? And it's interesting how I really found you, because it was through Jo Dodds, because I've been following her for several years, and then she put it in her newsletter, and that's how I kind of fell over the Virtual Speaking Academy. Yeah. I'm so pleased I did.
Yeah, well, we love having you, obviously. If you just take yourself back 4 months ago, can you remember, so you connected through Jo, through her email. Can you remember at the time what you were experiencing and sort of what attracted you to join the community?
First of all, I mean, I've been a member of Speakers Club, Toastmasters local one, for several years now, and I've learned a lot from that. My confidence has grown. I've learned quite a lot about how to pace a speech and all the other things that go with it. But that's for live speaking, and I just feel there's so much more online now. People are, well, they're much more into technology. Do people really? Yes, they do go to seminars. They do go to speaking events. They do go to workshops. But so many people have got such busy lives that they want something where they don't have to go out. They don't have the time. So I really wanted to learn more about how to speak online more effectively and how to deliver, because I think there's a lot more to it. It's a different way of behaving. It's a different way of delivering. So that was it was curiosity to start with. But then that was what can you help with? Because I just want to get my message out a lot more to the world.
Yeah, and online is a beautiful way to do it, because it's the butterfly effect again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Power to affect one affects many.
Yes.
Wendy, what have some of the benefits been for you personally and for your business?
Wow. Well, the resources within the Academy are just endless. There are just so many videos, so many resources. I was gobsmacked when I discovered how much is in there. I haven't listened to watched half of the things that are in there. But what I have learned, it's been invaluable, not just for me, but for my business too. I feel far more confident at speaking. I've learned a lot of different things. I also love the fact that we have the mastermind on a regular basis. There's meeting other people, learning about them, and getting feedback, because us business women, and it's a lonely business. We can get quite isolated, and I think it's so nice to be able to catch up with people and in different countries, which is even nicer. It's just that feeling of supporting each other and being there for each other and getting feedback and ideas and suggestions. I love that.
That's great to hear. Thanks, Wendy. I think confidence is something that is underrated, but actually I think when it comes to speaking online, it's one of the most important things.
Yeah.
It's element. If you can't,
yes, it is, because you're not getting any feedback.
yeah.
I think that's the one thing I notice, is that if I do a webinar, it's like I can't spend the time looking to see who's there. People don't always interact with me because what I talk about can be quite sensitive and they don't want to be identified. So delivering something when you don't know who's there or who's listening or watching can be really daunting.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of professional speakers who are used to speaking on the stage have a fear of speaking online. I have a fear of speaking on the stage. So I've taken my skills online.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's great because it will build confidence, and maybe there will be a point when you will feel, well, actually now I could venture into something live, just because you built that confidence, because confidence builds on confidence, doesn't it? So I think something like that. But it is utilising what we feel comfortable with and how we feel happy delivering, and honing those skills.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really important.
And you've got so many different experts as well in the group, in the academy, who are offering different skills, which again is just so helpful.
Yeah, it is. I can't deliver everything, and I really like the idea of people learning other skills from experts who are actually speaking live on the stage. Even though I know the membership is all about live online, the skills are transferable, which I think is really, really important. Yeah, it's one of the things I want to make sure that runs through consistently over the coming year. Wendy, what would you say to somebody who is thinking of joining the Virtual Speaking Academy but wasn't sure?
Just do it. I don't think there's anything to be lost by it. I think there's everything to be gained from it. I learn something new virtually every week, whatever it is, whether it's a new tip or a way of being, or more information or ideas or support or feedback. I think I'm learning constantly, and I'm becoming more and more confident about speaking. I know some of it is just doing it, but I think there's also having that support around you. It's just nice to be part of a community and not feeling alone. And yeah, just do it. Just do it. If you don't try, you will never know what you might have missed. You know, that's the point. So what have you got to lose? It's a non-threatening community, which I love. I don't feel threatened. I don't feel I'm not good enough, and that's something I've carried around for many years. And so it's really nice to feel that I'm a part of it and I'm being supported.
You're a very big part, and it's interesting when you just said that. I can see why you felt those feelings. I won't allow any naughtiness in the community. There's a lot of naughtiness in the speaking world, and I will not allow it. But it's interesting when you said that. I was just thinking about your story, and I was able to then link it back to your story and go,
yeah.
So yeah,
that's my fallback position on occasions, although I'm aware of it. But yeah, it's definitely my fallback. So if something, if it comes up, then that will be the one that bites me on the bottom. But yeah, no, it is. It's a very caring and heart-centered group, which is delightful.
Oh, I got goosebumps now.
And that's all down to you, because that's what you facilitate, that's what you created. And I think you should be very proud of yourself that that's what you have created, which is a warm and welcoming group. And I know you suffer with dyslexia, and the fact that you own that, and that how can I say this? It's about acknowledging the fact that we are good enough. You struggle with your spelling at times, and that's fine, because that means that none of us have to be perfect.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does, and I think it's really important, and it is part what makes us, I know it's a word that's bandied around a lot, but authentic and charismatic speakers, because we show our truth, and that is okay, and it is accepted by everybody who we're connected to. To be honest, some people, I used to get hate mail. I don't get it anymore.
Really?
And some really nasty stuff going on. But actually, if I have that now, if someone did that to me in the group now, forget the money, they'd be gone, because I want our community to be accepting of one another, and that's how you're charismatic and you become authentic and you attract the right people to you. To me, it's part of one of those speaking skills that you learn.
Yes.
Embrace it, because it's that whole confidence piece that you were speaking about earlier on.
Yeah, and I'd so agree, because we've moved away from that, haven't we, with the perfect speakers or the perfect performer or the perfect delivery.
Yeah.
And I think it's when we see that the vulnerability of others that warms us to others much more. And I know when I first trained as a counsellor in 2000, qualified in 2005, that we were told to be a blank screen. We had to almost perform. And that didn't sit well with me, because my clients, well, they didn't know me. They didn't have any understanding of me. And because I see clients at home, they get a sense of me. Yes, there are certain things I don't have in my room, because it's not appropriate. I don't have family photos and stuff like that in the room. But apart from that, they do know me, and I see nothing wrong in that, because they see that I'm a real human being that they can trust enough to be able to be open with me, because I'm just ordinary.
And if you were an empty vessel, how much fun would that be? It's not much fun being an empty vessel, is it?
No.
There's also that question about, ethically, how long do you want to keep someone in pain when you know you can help them?
Oh yeah, I really agree with that. Yes, I mean, they're in enough pain as it is. They don't need to feel that pain anymore. And I can remember we had to have 45 hours personal therapy as part of my training, and there was that therapist that I saw. She was a lovely lady, but she was a blank screen. And I remember saying to her, but you've got it all together, your life is all sorted. And she just turned around and said, have I? And I still remember that all those years on, and that was no help to me. And equally, there were times that I felt, there are things I can't tell you. I feel too shamed to tell you. And I swore from that day on that I didn't ever want that for anybody. I'm a human being with human failings. And I tell my clients, I say, I've earned every one of these wrinkles.
It's your new strapline, Wendy.
I want them to know that I haven't done maybe the same things as them, but I've lived my life and I've made my mistakes, and I'll continue making mistakes, but I want them to know that I'm a real human being.
Yeah. And I think that's a really lovely note to close on. Thank you very much, Wendy, for your time today. This will be shared in our community, and obviously you can share it with your community. Do with it whatever you feel fit. I hope whoever's listening and watching enjoys the session. You know how to get hold of Wendy now, so if you want to reach out to her, there's lots of different ways that you can do it. You can go and check out her book, listen to the podcast, come and jump on some live sessions, which would be absolutely awesome. And yeah, make sure you connect and ask questions. As Wendy says, be inquisitive. That is a great space to be in, is being inquisitive, because you can learn an awful lot. Thanks, Wendy.
And so, thank you. And I'd just like to ask you about what you do now, because I think if I share this with my community, I'd like to be able to share what you do too, because I think that would be so nice for others to understand where you come from.
Yeah, so thank you, Wendy. I really appreciate that, and you've put me on the spot now, so I have to step into my red shoes, as I say.
Yeah, your lovely red shoes.
By the way, they're on.
Good. I love your red shoes.
Yeah, so I work with women, female entrepreneurs, who have an established message and want to come online, onto the online space to share their message. It's a bit about what we were both talking about, which is about the butterfly effect. So predominantly the women that I work with have a message that they want to share that brings positive change in business or in life. And I help them to do that by using their voice online and creating things like signature programs and learning to actually become more confident and share their message so they attract the right audience to them. So that's predominantly what it is I do in a nutshell.
Great. And how can people contact you?
Got a bit of reverse psychology going on here.
I know.
The best place to find me is on the website. Well, actually, that's not the best place to find me. I hang around in Facebook quite a bit. So I have quite a big community. So you can find me on Facebook at Wendy Kia and friend me. The business page is the Virtual Speaking Academy and the website is virtualspeakingpros.com. Yeah. Facebook is always a good one because it's so personal. You know, you can have a bit of a chit chat and get to know somebody a little bit better.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Because I think I'm sure people want to know how to contact you too.
Yeah. All right then, Wend, you enjoy the rest of the day, whatever you're up to.
Okay, thank you. And you.
Take care, lovely.
Bye.
Bye.